Assalamualaikum and good morning. My name is Muhammad Rizwan bin Ahmad Bashar. My ID number 910703146413-001. I'm taking Bachelor in Safety and Health. Today I want to presentation about my task about project management. It's about a definition of stakeholder management. Definition of stakeholder management. Stakeholder management is the systematic identification, analysis, planning, and implementation of actual design to engage with stakeholders. Definition of stakeholders also is a critical component to the successful delivery of any project, program, or activity. A stakeholder is any individual, group, or organization that can be affected by or perceive itself to be affected by a program. Organization stakeholder is a well acknowledged that any given of organization will have multiple stakeholders including but not limited to customers, shareholder, employers, suppliers, and so forth. Stakeholder management creates positive relationship with stakeholders through the appropriate management of their expectation and agreed objective. Stakeholder management is a process and control that must be planned and guided by underlying principles. Stakeholder management within business, organization, or project, it prepare a strategy using information or intelligence gathered during the following common process. Principle of stakeholders, I want to explain about. There are many principles of stakeholders in stakeholder management. Uh, I want to describe about 7 principle of stakeholder. Principle of stakeholder management. Managers should acknowledge and monitor the concerns of all legitimate stakeholders. Second, listen to and openly communicate with stakeholders about their respectively concern and contribution. Third, adopt process and modes of behavior that are sensitive. Fourth, recognize the interdependence of effort and reward among stakeholders. Number 5, work cooperatively with others, identity both public and private. Number 6, avoid altogether activities that might jeopardize and inalienable human rights. Number 7, acknowledge the potential conflict between their own roles as cooperative stakeholders and their legal moral responsibilities. This all 1 to 7 I want to explain in much more detail. Managers should acknowledge and actively monitor the concern of all legitimate stakeholders. It means, and we should take their interests and appropriate into account in decision making and operation. Number 2, I want to explain about how managers should listen to and openly communicate with stakeholders about their respective concern and contribution and about the risks that assume because of their involvement with the corporation. Number 3, managers should adopt process and mode of behavior that are sensitive to the concern and capability of each stakeholder constituency. Number 4, managers should recognize the interdependence of effort and rewards among stakeholders and should attempt to achieve a fair distribution of the benefits and burdens of the corporate activity among them, taking into their account and respectively risks and vulnerabilities. Number 5, managers also should work cooperatively with other entities, both public and private, to ensure the risks and harm arising from cooperative activity are minimized and when they cannot be avoided, appropriately compensated. Number 6, managers should avoid altogether activities that might jeopardize inalienable human rights. Example, give the risk which, if clearly understood, will be patently unacceptable to relevant stakeholders. And the last, managers should acknowledge the potential conflict between their own role as cooperative stakeholders and their legal and moral responsibilities for the interest of all stakeholders and should address such conflict through open communication, appropriate reporting, and incentive system, and where necessary third-party review. And another four stakeholder management compose. First, identify, recognize, and acknowledge stakeholder. Number two, determine the influence and interest. Number third, establish the influence communication plan. Number four, influencing and engaging the stakeholders. The practical guideline on how to deal with stakeholders. There are many practical guidelines. I want to describe some about how to deal with stakeholders. First, identify who the stakeholders are obvious. Number two, identify the stakeholders' preferred method of communication. Number three, keep stakeholders engaged through the process with timely updates. Number four, accurately make expectation. Number five, we must classify the level of communication. Number six, identify which stakeholder will be advocates. Number seven, engage the stakeholder in decision making. And number eight, the manner in which project accomplish its utility, very important. About communicate, before aiming to engage and influence stakeholders, it's crucial to seek to understand the people you will be working with and relying on. Throughout the process of the project, life cycle sharing information with stakeholders is important, but it is equally important to first gather information about your stakeholders. We must also consult early and often. A project, particularly in the early stage, may be unclear to its stakeholders. For example, in terms of purpose, scope, risk, and approach, yearly then regular consultation is essentially to ensure that requirements are agreed and delivery solution is negotiated that is acceptable to the majority of stakeholders. And we must know and we must remember that they are only human, except that humans do not always behave in rational, reasonable, consistent or predictable way, and operate with an awareness of human feeling and potential personal agenda. By understanding the root cause of the stakeholder behavior, we can assess if the better way to work together to maintain a productive relationship. And we must plan a more conscientious and measured approach to stakeholder engagement is essential and therefore encourage investment in careful planning before engaging stakeholders can bring significant benefit.
Yeah.
Another more, relationships are the key. Developing relationship between increased trust, and where there is trust, people work together more easily. People work together more easily and effectively. Investing effort in identifying and building stakeholder relationship can increase confidence across the project environment, minimize uncertainty, and speed problem solving and decision making. Simple but not easy, over and above conventional planning, using foresight to anticipate hazard and taking simple, timely action with stakeholders can significantly improve project delivery. Although the process itself evident in practice, is still only rarely done well. And then just part of managing risk, stakeholders are important influential resource and should be treated as potential source of risk and opportunity within the project.
Yeah.
Furthermore, compromise, the initial step is to establish the most acceptable baseline across a set of stakeholders, diverging expectation and prioritize. Assess the relative importance of all stakeholders to establish a weight hierarchy against the project requirement and agreed by the project sponsor. Furthermore, understand and what success is. Project success means different things to be different people, and you need to be established what your stakeholder community perceives success to be for them in the context of project delivery.
Yeah.
And the last, we must take responsibility. Stakeholder engagement is not the job of one member of the project team. It's the responsibility of everyone to understand their role and to follow the right approach. to follow the right approach to communication and engagement. Good project governance requires providing clarity about stakeholder engagement roles and responsibility and what is expected of people involved in the project. And Alhamdulillah, it's all about my presentation, project management, about the stakeholder management, and I hope we all students success. And thank you to my wife and the tutor that helped me a lot. Thank you. Assalamualaikum.